California's monopoly territory is home to 17 million people.
Families already struggle to pay their bills.
AGD was convicted of 91 felonies.
Really? I mean, what's next?
Welcome to the Graybeard Talks Solar YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. This is a channel where we talk about what's going on in the solar industry, what's happening right now in California and other territories in terms of utility cost, and what your options are as homeowners to help mitigate your utility bill. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Department of Government Efficiency, what's going on there, retirement and solar. How do these things intertwine? That's going to be the subject of today's video. And so please like, share, and subscribe if you're so inclined. If you find the information to be valuable, we would appreciate you sharing it and or forwarding it on to others that might also find it valuable. So let's talk about the Department of Government Efficiency. So a lot of headlines, a lot of news, a lot of uproar, a lot of commotion and chaos with the Department of Government Efficiency right now. But from what I understand, here's what they're tasked with. So DOGE is being tasked with finding waste, fraud, and abuse in government spending. And there is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. I think we can all agree that we know this internally. We just don't know how to quantify it. We don't know how much it is or how pervasive it's been. But there's just this feeling that when you hear that the government's paying $1,200 for a paper cup or, $500 for a paper clip, you know that there's waste, fraud, and abuse that's occurring. So I completely support the mission, because think of it this way. All of us as individuals are running our own individual family households, right? We have to take into account our net income, how much money we're receiving, and then how much money we're spending. We have to make budget decisions. We have to live within our means or suffer the consequences. And I think it's completely reasonable that our federal government should have to do the same thing. And it does not feel like they've been good at stewarding our money. So this brings me to the subject of utility costs here in California. So this makes me think, as an individual household, okay, somebody in your household, maybe it's you, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's somebody else in the household, but somebody's got to be managing and reviewing the overall expenses of the household. And in finance, I have a 22-year former fiduciary financial advisor background. So in finance or money management, there's really only two ways for you to make money. You either increase revenue coming in, you make more money, literally, or you save more by reducing your expenses on a monthly and or annual basis. So it's either saving money or making money. Those are the two ways that you move yourself forward financially when it comes to accumulating wealth. And so what I want to discuss is DOGE is responsible for finding waste, fraud, and abuse. So let's talk about the utility costs just for a second. Out there in the world, in California, homeowners are being faced with some of the most expensive utility bills that they've ever seen before, ever. Do I think that is fraud? No. I wouldn't be surprised if it was uncovered, because I do think that there's some shenanigans going on between the CPUC and the big three utilities. I think that they collude more than what we're made aware of, but I don't think it's directly fraud. Do I think it's abuse? No, but I do think this. I do think if you as a homeowner have a meaningful opportunity to reduce your monthly expenses, specifically relative to utilities, if there's an option, if there's a possibility, if there's anything that could do anything to mitigate that, reduce it, that exposure, and you don't look into it, then I think that definitely considers itself to be waste. You're wasting money. You're letting money flow out of your household that could have otherwise been kept in the household. It's the exact same mission that DOGE has at the federal government. We want to try to get that money back, save that money, preserve that money, right? So it's either make more money, which they're not doing, or we save a lot more money. What they're trying to do is really accentuate the savings. Let's get down to the bottom line. Let's eliminate that wasteful spending that we're all aware of. And I think as an individual homeowner, you can do the same with solar. Out of the big four expenses that you have as a utility homeowner, You can't do anything about your interest rate right now because interest rates are horrible. Or maybe you got a good one. It's locked in, but you can't change that. It's not going to get cheaper than where you had it from 3 years ago, 5 years ago. So can't do anything about your mortgage expense if you have a mortgage. Certainly can't do anything about your property taxes. That expense continues to rise with time. It never goes down. So property taxes, you can't do anything about your hazard insurance, fire coverage, things like that. And that's only getting worse in California. And I think a big reason why that is the big three utilities. They have sparked a majority of the fires that have devastated some of the biggest communities and had some of the most financial loss has been attributable to some of these utility companies that did not maintain their equipment. So the only thing as a residential homeowner that you can dig into, that you can adjust, that you could save some money with is your energy costs monthly, which brings me to the secondary point here about retirement. Given that I've got a lot of experience with retirement management, I 22 years as a former fiduciary advisor, used to host a radio show, at the height of my career before I sold my practice, I was managing about $400 million in money under management. And the reality of it is that has a weight that stays with you. I mean, when you're managing the life savings of, let's say 600, 700 people, and something happens to where, they suffer some sort of a loss, that has a weight to it. And it's a weight I didn't want to continue to carry throughout my life. But here's my point, okay? In all of the retirement education I ever had, okay? Talk about planning, escalation, inflation, things like that. I never, ever, ever once saw anything talking about utility costs rising at 12% a year. So effectively what I'm saying here is that if you look at the big three, PG&E, Southern California Edison, and San Diego Gas and Electric, each one of them over the last 10 years have averaged an 8 to a 12% rate of increase in utility cost monthly on an annual basis. That's what kind of a cost that you've seen. So for many of you out there, you've seen your current utility bills double in 5, 6, 7 years, and that could be unnerving, especially if you're on a fixed income. So in retirement, it's all about income. It's not about net worth. Okay, a lot of people focus errantly on net worth, and net worth is great. I can own a vacant piece of land that could be worth $200 million, but if it has no way to produce an income for me, my lifestyle is going to be reflected by that. In other words, you can be land rich, cash poor. You can be asset rich, cash poor. What drives lifestyle in retirement is income, right? And so there's no greater jeopardy to somebody that's retired right now in California, I don't believe, other than in poor investment solutions, okay, an investment loss that tanks your account. But I don't think there's any greater jeopardy, the silent jeopardy, the hidden jeopardy, God, what brought down, the Trojan horse jeopardy inside of your retirement other than utility costs. I mean, it's absolutely outrageous how quickly the costs are escalating for utility expense in California. PG&E's had a 10-year average rate of growth of 12.5% per year. So the challenge is most people in retirement don't have the luxury of being able to go back to work because they made a mistake, didn't retire too soon, or didn't have enough money. They can't do that. It's like once you retire, you kind of settle into that retirement lifestyle and you've got kind of a fixed income, and you did not expect to see such a rise in utility costs. And most financial advisors out there aren't utility experts. So this isn't even on their radar per se. They'll talk in general. Let's talk about inflation in general, but they don't really talk about, the direct jeopardy of the environment they're in right now in California, where PG&E is raising rates 12.5% a year. And I think this next 10 years is actually going to be worse. So if you imagine retirement income as just a bucket, like a bucket of water that you open up a spigot and you start to draw out of, the trick is to try to have enough water in the bucket to last you your lifetime, right? You don't want to run out of water before you run out of life. So you don't want to run out of money before you run out of life. So what's going on right now with utilities, it's like taking that bucket that you're slowly driving money out of and sticking holes in it with an ice pick. That's what's happening with PG&E right now. And here's my point. There is a solution. There is an alternative. Many of you out there in PG&E territory, Southern California Edison or San Diego Gas and Electric territory, if you buy a house in those territories, you're stuck with them as a utility, with one exception: solar. If you can make energy from the sun, if you can make your utility company the sun instead of PG&E, SCE, or San Diego Gas and Electric, you can generate much cheaper energy. So let me give you one example of what I'm talking about here. This is an excellent retirement solution example to share with you. Okay. So in retirement, you've accumulated your nest egg, you've got your fixed income, you've got your income coming in, and most people's retirement income isn't growing at 12%. We've kind of established that. If it is growing at greater than that, well, kudos to you. You've done very well, or you've got an excellent investment strategy, or both. All right. But so think of it this way. You've accumulated what you're going to accumulate, okay? And you're going to draw that income down. And so we have a program right now. You may not have enough cash that you want to buy solar. And certainly in retirement, I don't think you want to go into debt to finance a solar system. But here's an alternative for you. What if you could benefit from solar by having a system installed that another utility company other than PG&E owned? So they call it third-party ownership, where you don't own the system, somebody else owns the system. So they're responsible for insuring it, managing it, maintaining it, servicing it, warranting it, monitoring it. They're responsible for everything, just like the utility does for you today. Like most of you out there watching this video, if you lose power, it's not like you had to tell the utility you lost power. It's like you get a text message saying, hey, it looks like you got power outage there. You know, they're already aware. They're monitoring their grid and they're on it because they got to fix it. They want to start generating revenue again. They want to have you buy electricity. Well, these third-party ownership solar programs work that same way. They're installing a solar power plant for your home. They'll give you 2 to 6 batteries to go along with it. You can have it be ground mounted, roof mounted. You could have backup batteries. You can have what we call cost savings batteries. And these programs right now are meaningfully cheaper than what we're seeing from financed systems because interest rates are still high right now. Finance systems really are penciling as a higher monthly expense than these alternative third-party ownership option programs. We call them power purchase programs, where effectively all you're doing is agreeing to purchase power from a solar system that you didn't have to buy yourself. A solar system you didn't have to write a check for, a solar system you didn't have to get a loan for. It's not a lease. It's a power purchase program. Symbiotic, one-way relationship. They'll install a power plant as long as you buy the energy. Yep, I'll buy the energy if it's cheaper than the utility. And so as a contrast, right now in PG&E territory, daytime rates right now for Tier 1 energy, about 42 cents a kilowatt hour. Tier 2 energy, which is 3 to 9 p.m., about 60 cents a kilowatt hour. So let's say the average is like 50 cents a kilowatt hour. We've got programs right now that are falling somewhere between like 18 and maybe 26, 27 cents, depending on roof or ground mount, size of system, battery coverage, that kind of thing. But let's just imagine 18 to 25 cents. Let's just say it's 25 cents. So let's say you're 50 cents on PG&E energy, and we can have a solar system installed at your property that you don't have to pay for, that you didn't have to get a loan for, that is not a lease. We can have a solar system installed at your property, and you can buy the energy for 25 cents a kilowatt hour, which is effectively half the cost of the utility. And then here's the biggest thing. You get a guarantee moving forward. Once you enter into that agreement to purchase that energy, you get a guarantee moving forward that that utility company that you're now paying for a majority of your energy for the home, that they cannot raise rates in any given year more. They can only raise rates once a year, and they can never raise it more than 3.5%. Okay. Now that's a big deal. Most people's retirement and retirement income escalates or increases with inflation, and it averages maybe that 3.5% range. Whereas what most people don't have in terms of retirement income is an escalation of that income at 12.5%, like the utilities have had. So I think the jeopardy is, as time goes on, that bill is going to only get more expensive. But if we could slow the growth of it, cut the bill in half, cut the expense in half, and then slow the growth of it moving forward, then I think that that's a much better retirement strategy relative to how your monthly expenses for utility costs are reconciled. And so in that regard, I think DOGE does have a point. You need to be the DOGE officer of your own household, specifically dig into your utility costs, understand how that could be a significant retirement jeopardy to you, and then explore the options that are available right now in solar that could possibly help you to mitigate that problem now, save you money today, and then slow that growth. Because you got to remember this, okay? This is back from my financial services days. When you lose a dollar, when you waste a dollar, I used to reference this in discussions about income tax liability. And I used to say to people before, if you pay $1 more in taxes than you should have or could have paid, what is the real cost to you? Most people would say, well, I lost $1. Well, no, you lost the dollar plus what that dollar could have earned over the next 15, 20, 25 years if you'd been able to recover it, retain it, and keep it for yourself. They call that opportunity cost. It's not just the dollar, but what the dollar could have earned that you're also losing by wasting that money. And I'd like to encourage you in retirement, it's more important than ever that you not waste any money. Retirement is uncertain. It's a moving target. Things change. Inflation happens. Utilities rise in cost. You could have some sort of illness or hospitalization that you've got to account for. And, retirement is very much a moving target. So the more you can hedge your bets your way, I think the better you're going to be. And I think of the big four expenses, kind of coming full circle, big four expensive of home ownership. Mortgage rate you can't do anything about. Property taxes you can't do anything about. Hazard insurance is only getting worse. Utility costs are the one thing that you can do something about, and I would encourage you strongly to look into the options that are available in solar. If you'd like to connect with us directly, all you've got to do is text YouTube to 84503. I own a solar brokerage company in California. I work with my family. We've got 11 different installers that work throughout the state. If you text YouTube, that word, to 84503, that 5-digit number on your phone, 84503, like you're texting a friend, we'll be in touch with you. We'll connect with you. We'll talk with you. We're an education first, knowledge first solar brokerage company. We want you to be informed before making a decision. That's part of the reason why I host a radio show and part of the reason why I'm doing this video series right here that you're watching. So please text YouTube to 84503, and that will conclude this week's Graybeard Talk Solar video. Thank you for watching the channel. A little wisdom goes a long way toward turning sunshine into serious savings for you. Please don't forget to smash the like, subscribe, and share buttons. And one last thing, stay charged, stay informed, and keep shining. Graybeard out.
Thanks for listening to SolarWise. Graybeard Talk Solar. Please visit our website, solarwiseco.com, to learn more. And we will see you next time on SolarWise.